Darla, what do you mean there was no one there?
Claudia said they all left.
Where'd they go?
But she wouldn't even tell me.
I don't know. I don't understand any of this. First they call this big mysterious meeting about who shot Grant Chambers, and then they insist that Clarke be there, and now everybody's disappeared.
Yeah, and you know Hunter Jones was at that meeting.
Oh, I know, Massey, I know. He's got his own theory about who shot Grant.
Yeah, and the fact that they wanted Clarke there.
It's not possible, Darla. Bucky isn't capable of shooting anybody, least of all his best friend.
Doesn't mean they're not going to try to pin it on him.
Hey.
Oh, Clarke.
Well, you hear this? You guys are not going to believe this one.
Do I have any other calls?
No, actually, it's been like a graveyard around here.
That is a bad metaphor.
Sorry about that.
Why don't I make us some cappuccinos? I feel like I could knock out a dozen dress designs today.
Wow, you're in a great mood.
Well, I had an incredible afternoon, Megan.
Yeah, where'd you go?
To the moon and back with my lovely, lovely wife.
Oh, one of those afternoons.
Ooh, it was the best.
Well, come on. Don't spare me the details. What happened?
Let's not go there. So, any word from the Forrester compound?
Did you hear about their big meeting?
Well, I heard something about that. Do you know how it turned out?
As soon as we get this straightened out, I'll call Eric and let him know it's worked out.
By all means. All right, what is all this about? I know you're busy, Lieutenant, but this is very important. Look, if this is about Ridge...
This is about an innocent man, Lieutenant.
You brought me down here for this? Just give us a couple of minutes. Look, Counselor, we're due to go to court on these matters. I can't discuss this with you. This is not about the case. Well, then what are you here to talk about?
The assailant. The real assailant. You got the wrong man, Lieutenant, and we can prove it.
Brooke, are you alone?
Yes.
Good. Pack a bag, grab the kids, let's get out of here.
What are you talking about?
Where are Rick and Bridget?
They're with Katie.
Does she have a cellular? We should call her so she doesn't have to come back here.
Ridge, I don't know what's going on with you, but you're leaving. You're leaving now.
Brooke, you have to listen to me now.
No, you can't keep doing this. If Grant saw you here, he'd have the police here in an instant.
Oh, great. I would love that.
You have a restraining order. That may not matter to you, Ridge, but I'm trying to build a life here, and you're not helping.
Build a life with that guy?
He's my husband.
Brooke is a dangerous criminal.
Oh, will you stop?
Look, he's not the man that you think he is.
I want you out of here, okay? Please, leave now.
Brooke, he knows I didn't shoot him, and do you know why he knows?
Ridge, I am not going to listen to any more theories. I am sorry. I know you didn't do this, and I hope they find the person who did. But you know what? I have my own problems, and I'm desperately trying to be a good wife.
You're wasting your time because he doesn't deserve you. He doesn't deserve anyone.
Oh, yes, he does. He deserves better than me, Ridge. We've been married for what, 5 months now? And up until recently, it hasn't even been a marriage.
But that's changed, right? Brooke, please don't tell me you're falling in love with that guy.
Why not? What would it matter to you, Ridge?
It would matter a great deal.
You know, what are you doing here? Why did you even come here? Did you come here to hurt me? To string me along? I am trying to love Grant, and I am going to succeed this time. In spite of you, Ridge. In spite of you.
Brooke, you have to know this now.
What? What do I have to know?
I didn't shoot Grant. Nobody did. He tried to frame me, Brooke. He shot himself.
What did you say?
Grant did it to himself.
I don't believe I'm hearing this. Ridge, that has got to be the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard.
Look, I know it's going to be very hard for you to accept this, but Brooke, it is true. Grant took a gun, wedged it into one of those trophies in his office, took a piece of leather piping, tied it around the trigger, sat down at his desk, and shot himself.
You're serious?
That's the way it happened, Brooke.
So who came up with this cockeyed theory?
It's not a theory.
Oh, so somebody took a picture of Grant shooting himself. Oh, well, in
Look,
that case,
Brooke,
I'm
it,
sure
it
that...
makes perfect sense here. His hatred of me, he's always wanted to take over the company.
Rich, he is not taking over the company. I still own that stock. I just put him in charge because I thought it would be best.
Yes, and he put you up to that. You do know that, don't you?
Why are we arguing about this? I can't believe this.
Brooke, he's always held it against me. The way that you've always felt, the fact that his marriage never worked.
Well, it works now.
I wouldn't be telling you this, Brooke, if I didn't believe that it's absolutely true.
You suspect it, Ridge. You don't have proof. Do you?
No, I don't yet have proof.
Right, see? So it's just another theory, and a bad one at that. One that threatens my family and threatens my state of mind. Now, I want you to leave. Ridge, please, just go.
You listening to this guy?
He knows what he's talking about.
No, counselor. He works for the defendant the same as you do, and the three of you are wasting my time.
Do you think you could extend us the courtesy of listening to what he's found out?
All right, Jones. Tell me what you found out.
Here's what happened.
No. I asked you, what have you found out?
It's an explanation, Lieutenant. Very clear, very reasonable.
I can give you 30 explanations. All of them reasonable, none of them based on evidence. Now, if you want to tell me that you got some new evidence, that's a different story. Do you?
No. But you do.
Oh, is that a fact?
The gun, the award, the leather piping, it's all in the evidence locker.
I get it. You want to discuss the case. On the eve of the trial, you want to know what you're up against.
Oh, for God's sakes,
All right,
Lieutenant.
that's it. All of you, out of here right now. And this little stunt, I'm reporting it to the judge.
Here, call the prosecutor. Get her down here.
I told you to leave.
And I'm telling you to call Teresa Emerson. If you can't talk about this, she can't, and she's going to.
Grant Chambers shot himself. That is Hunter Jones' pet theory.
Oh, man, Sally, you should have seen it. There were props, visual effects. It was theater. Bad theater.
So, in other words, you're saying that it was impossible, right? I mean, it couldn't physically be done.
No, I'm not saying that.
Oh, wait a minute. What are you saying? Are you saying you think it's possible it happened the way Jones said?
Well, theoretically, yes, it is possible.
Oh.
But, Sally, I mean, come on. No way. Grant may be crazy, but to blow himself away?
Hey, wait a minute. He didn't, quote, blow himself away, unquote, did he? He merely shot himself in the shoulder, possibly. And considering what Grant Chambers had to gain by appearing the innocent victim, he might very well have found that worthwhile doing.
So, Megan, what's the word?
Well, I know Eric came in for a meeting earlier.
So his little powwow broke up at home.
Yes,
Well, then why the grim look?
because Eric didn't have one. A grim look. In fact, he looked as elated as I've ever seen him.
So Eric's in a good mood. I wonder what all that's about.
I'm sure it had to do with that family gathering.
Yeah, Hunter Jones and his search for truth. I wonder what came of that.
I'll tell you this, I'll bet whatever they came up with, they took it to the police.
Well, Megan, there's one way to find out.
It just gives you background for what we're trying to say. Just, look at it if you want
It
to.
means nothing to me. I can't use
Lieutenant, you have a call.
it. Tell him I'm busy.
Now, here.
It's Grant Chambers.
Excuse me. Baker.
Lieutenant, I'm sorry to interrupt you.
What is it?
Let me get to the point. I understand this Detective Forrester hired has come up with some new theory. I'm wondering if you heard anything about that.
As a matter of fact, they're here right now. Nah, sorry, Chambers. I can't tell you anything about it.
Well, I bet Ridge is there pleading his case right now.
Well, not Ridge, but the rest of them are here.
What, Ridge isn't with them?
Nope.
Huh. Well, I'm sure whatever they come up with, it's a waste of time. Thanks, Lieutenant. So Ridge isn't one of them. I wonder why. Now you can hold down the fort. I've got something I need to take care of.
Sounds as though Chambers is getting nervous.
He didn't sound nervous to me.
Well, why did he call, Lieutenant? Is he looking for lunch?
He knows you're up to something, Jones. He's curious. Why wouldn't he be?
Well, if I'm right, curious will be an understatement.
Gentlemen, Mrs. Forrester, Miss Emerson,
Thanks for coming over, Miss Emerson.
what's this all about?
Well, Mr. Jones here has some new thoughts about who really shot Grant Chambers.
Do you have something to back it up?
Well, it's based on certain pieces of evidence that the police are holding.
What evidence is that?
Well, we have a gun, we have an award, and we have a piece of leather piping, all found at the scene of the crime after the shooting.
Okay. Let's hear what you've got.
Grant Chambers had every reason to come after Ridge Forrester. He staged the shooting, and he blamed Forrester.
He framed him?
Right.
Then who did the shooting?
He shot himself.
How?
If the lieutenant will get me the items in question, I'll demonstrate.
Just describe it for me.
Okay. Chambers takes the gun and positions it in the award, lodges it there. To the trigger, he attaches a piece of leather piping, which is attached by means of a slip knot. He then takes the piping in his hands, moves around behind his desk, having positioned the gun to point at his shoulder. He pulls the piping, which sets off the trigger. The discharge sends all of the various items scattering around the office floor. Ridge hears the noise and comes into the office, followed shortly by the police. Chambers fingers him to the police. He had the means, the motive, the opportunity. Grant Chambers shot himself. It had nothing to do with my client.
Ridge, I don't want you to stay here any longer.
I cannot leave here knowing what I know.
You know nothing.
But I will, Brooke. Now that I'm on to Grant, I'm not going to stop until I prove this beyond a shadow of a doubt.
Good, Ridge. You're fighting for your life, for your freedom. You are innocent, and you should prove that. But not this way. Not by going after Grant with some bizarre, preposterous story about him trying to shoot himself. That is not going to get you out of trouble. So please, stop wasting your time.
Interesting. Very interesting.
No, Sally, it's not interesting. It's laughable. It's ludicrous.
Well, you may find it ludicrous, but I got a feeling Grant Chambers has been laughing for some time now when he thinks about his marriage to Brooke, which was as icy and cold as December and is now enjoying a spring thaw.
She was starting to warm up to him before this.
No, Clarke, no, she wasn't. She wouldn't let him lay a finger on her.
She was totally devoted to Ridge.
Right. Until Ridge became the villain in the piece by taking a shot at her husband. You know something? I got a feeling Grant Chambers is some kind of manipulative genius.
He's also very dangerous, if you ask me.
A genius for shooting himself? No way. He'd have to be a fool to do that. And believe me, Grant is no fool.
Well, Miss Emerson, definitely more than a theory.
Teresa, it's all supposition.
Well, so is your case against my son.
We have hard evidence and a positive identification against your son, Mrs. Forrester.
It's all made by the victim, who stood to gain plenty.
Chambers was already the CEO of the company. He didn't have to shoot himself to get that.
But he did need to get rid of Ridge in order to gain his wife's affections. That is undeniable.
No, that is speculation.
All right, gentlemen, enough. It's an interesting hypothesis, Mr. Jones. But Lieutenant Baker's right. It's based on supposition and premise, not evidence.
I'll find the evidence.
And when you do, I'll be pleased to listen to it. But as it stands, you certainly don't have a case that my office can possibly deliver an indictment on.
But hasn't there been enough doubt cast that you can drop the charges against Ridge?
No, Mrs. Forrester, I'm sorry, there isn't. The case goes forward, people. I'll see you at trial.
Yes, you will, Miss Emerson. But let me serve notice. We are going to argue this case against Grant Chambers. Let's see who a jury believes.
All right, Counselor. Let's.
Don't you see how worried I am about you? You're in trouble, Ridge. You're in serious trouble. They could easily put you in prison with the amount of evidence that they have against you, and they will. They will unless you defend yourself.
What do you think I'm doing here?
This is not the way.
Brooke, don't you see this as a possibility?
No, I don't.
Maybe you just don't want to see it as a possibility.
For me to accept what you're saying would be for me to believe that I am sleeping and living and sharing a life with a man who is not only a liar, but somebody who is an evil person. Rich, I can't accept that. I'm sorry, and I won't.
Well, then I have to say this. If you think of it strictly in terms of the risks and the rewards, it makes perfect sense, Brooke. Grant's a strong man. He knows that he could survive a bullet in the shoulder. Look how fast he bounced back. And now he's got his revenge on me. He's got the admiration of the Forrester employees. Look how close the two of you become since he shot himself. I'd say that was a small price to pay.
How would he know that I was going to react that way?
He knew it couldn't go on the way it was. He was getting nowhere with you before the shooting. Brooke, in my opinion, you and the children are at risk if you stay here with Chambers. Now, what am I supposed to do? Just ignore that? I can't do that.
And I'm supposed to pack up and leave.
The man is a threat, Brooke. He tried to set me up. Yes, you should just leave. Brooke, we don't know what's going to happen once the truth comes out here. I mean, this man, he's capable of shooting himself. You think he's just going to stand by and let the police capture him? I don't think so. And they will come for him, Brooke. They're on their way. My mother, my lawyer, Hunter Jones are at the police station right now. Brooke, I am begging you, please come with me right now.
Well. What have we got here?